So today we are going to do a very fun exercise. We are going to learn how to make poems with tarot cards. And this was a lot of fun. I don't know who started this particular exercise, because when I found it, I found several different videos that talked about it, and a couple online forums too, but nobody gave anybody credit for it. So I don't know where this came from. I saw it in activity books and a whole bunch of different places. But basically what we do is we pick some tarot cards, and I'll show you how I picked them, and then you make a poem. The last time we did a story. This time we're going to do some poems, because you guys know I'm a poet. So I wanted to see if this would help me create poems. So we're getting ready to do a couple right now. My name is QueenAusetHeru, and thank you for joining me for another awesome edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to anyone and everybody who might like it too. Please drop us a positive comment in the comment section. And if you want to get a reading done, please hit me up on email or social media. I'll be glad to do so. Please drop us a comment in the comment section. Make sure it's positive. And that's it. If you want to become a patron, my information will be underneath this video. And whenever possible, whatever decks I use, I will put the links. I'm an Amazon affiliate, so I will put my Amazon links, or if I have a different link, I will put a link to a legitimate copy underneath this video. Now we're going to get started. So the first deck I decided to work with is called the Inner Child Tarot. They're humongous cards, which is one of the reasons why I love working with them. They're beautiful and they're really big. And they're not easy to hold in my card holder, I'll tell you that. Alright, I'm going to put these right here and pull these forward, and I'm going to explain. So this is the first thing I did, right? I decided on how many cards I wanted in each poem. I decided to go with 5, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to have 2 rhyming lines, 2 more rhyming lines, and then a finishing up line. I didn't want them to be really long, so I just picked 5 cards, and I just picked 5 because of Goddess Orisha, the Orisha Oshun. That's her number, and she's one of my favorites, so I picked 5. So the very first one I picked here, I picked the cards at random. I shuffled the deck, I picked them at random, and then I just made the poem. So the first thing that happened was I got the cards. So you'll see here I have the Magician, I have the Knight of Cups, and I have the 3 of Pentacles. Crystals or Pentacles in this deck. Then I have the 9 of Pentacles again, 9 of Crystals, and then I have the 6 of Wands. Okay? So basically, after I did that, what I did was I looked at these and I put them in order. I put them in order of like telling a story, right? And for me, the way I tell stories in poetry, I usually put them from the issue, the conflict, all the way to the resolution. So issues are first, and then we get into our resolutions. So the first thing I did was put the cards in that kind of order. Then I decided on what I wanted to say by using the keyword for each card. So for the first one, here's our Magician. Now I'm going to tell you all together how it sounds, right? Magician. So for the Magician, I said, I was never taught how to properly tap into my magic. My Magician card was reversed, so that's why I worded it like that. The second one is our Knight of Cups. But I knew that it could bring about results that were loving and ecstatic. Our Knight. Number 3, 3 of Pentacles over here. 3 is, so I worked with Goddess Auset to learn the ways of the mage. 4 would be 6 of Wands. After over a decade, I had reached the level of a sage. And the 9 of Pentacles. Now I teach others how to tap into their own psychic abilities as I enjoy a life filled with luxury and infinite possibilities. So now we got it all together. We have our conflict all the way to the resolution. I'll read it one more time. I was never taught how to properly tap into my magic, but I knew that it could bring about results that were loving and ecstatic. So I worked with Goddess Auset to learn the ways of the mage. After over a decade, I had reached the level of a respected sage. Now I teach others how to tap into their own psychic abilities, as I enjoy a life filled with luxury and infinite possibilities. So as you can see, all I did was use what that line was about. The summary, the keyword for this one, the keyword was the magician reverse. So it was lack of having magic. And this one, the night, is all about love and ecstasy. This one is about working. This one is about riding high and getting respect. And then this one is about luxury and infinite possibilities. So that's how I was able to put the whole thing together. See? So that's the first one. I will show you a few others I did. All right, so now this one, let's see. And I did not name these, so if you have a good name, let me know, okay? Because I did not name any of these. Here's number one. I think I named one. I think that was it. And then we have our Emperor. And if they came up reversed, I did use them in the reversal. And then we have our Queen. And then we have our 8 and our 9. There we go. All right, so once again, push this back, show it to you guys. The first line is the Knight of Cups. Now, knights can be male or female. They don't have to be men or women. It doesn't really matter. You know, it's just a person basically. So you'll see them renamed in certain decks, you know, Seeker or something like that. But in here she called it the Sun. So I said here, she was a sensitive knight who would risk it all for love. Emperor came up reversed. He was a tyrant who is extremely difficult to get rid of. Queen of Cups. However, she followed her heart and trusted her intuition. 8 of Swords reversed. Only then was she granted freedom from his, let me show it to you. Only then was she granted freedom from his narcissistic prison. And the last one goes with our 9 of Pentacles. Now she spends her days living carefree and happily in a fantastic new reality. So I'm going to read it together. She was a sensitive knight who would risk it all for love. He was a tyrant who was extremely difficult to get rid of. However, she followed her heart and trusted her intuition. Only then was she granted freedom from his narcissistic prison. Now she spends her days living carefree and happily in a fantastic new reality. So again, my knight was the sensitive love. The Emperor was reversed, so that's the tyrant energy. My Queen of Cups is the heart and intuition. The 8 of Swords reversed is freedom from thoughts, especially negative ones. And the 9 of Pentacles is being happy. Yeah, happy and fantastic and carefree in your own reality. Okay? So as you can see, you can come up with some pretty interesting ideas. You can play with it a little bit. Let's do one more. This is the last one for tarot. And let me see. Here it is. I had to write all of these down so I knew what was what. The first one, it looks like, is going to be the 8 of Wands. No? This is one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's how it's going to go. Okay, so for the very first one, we have the Queen of Wands. The Queen was fed up with her relationship's lack of romance and passion. Number 2, this one is the Page of Wands. Her girlfriend was fun, yet hot-headed and lacked direction. Our page was reversed. 3, so the Queen pinned a message to the real object of her desire. 5 of Cups, she wished to reconcile with her ex, the one who had always lit her fire. 8 of Wands, after a few short weeks, they had been reunited. For you see, if it is true love, it can always be reignited. So I'm going to read it all together. The Queen was fed up with her relationship's lack of romance and passion. Her girlfriend was fun, yet hot-headed and lacked direction. So the Queen penned a message to the real object of her desire. She wished to reconcile with her ex, the one who had always lit her fire. After a few short weeks, they had been reunited. For you see, if it is true love, it can always be reignited. So of course, this part here, this is our Queen, who is, the Queen was reversed. So she was fed up with the lack of passion. The Queen in the upright is passion, so there was a lack. Our Page was reversed. This is the one who's fun, yet hot-headed and doesn't have direction. The Queen of Swords is about pinning the letter, because the Queen of Swords, the sword is sometimes referred to as a pen, and also communication goes along with the swords. And she wished to reconcile. The 5 of Cups reversed is about reconciliation. So in the upright, it means that she want to, this one was reversed. So in the upright, it's about like a breakup or some sadness, an ex, and reversed, it is reconciliation. So she wanted to reconcile. And the last one, the fire has been reignited, the 8 of Wands. Cool, huh? So that's how you use tarot to make poems. Now, because I was doing this exercise, I decided that I also wanted to use oracle cards, because I'm somebody who loves oracle cards. When I first saw oracle cards, I did not love them, which is the funny part. But I have grown to be in love with them over the past 10-15 years. I just love them to death. So I said to myself, how can I make a poem using the oracle cards? And I thought it would be hard, but I figured, hey, I'm up for a challenge. So this is what I did. I used the deck called, this is the first one, Deep, Dark, and Dangerous Oracle. Now for this one, I did name the poem. This is the only one I named. I called this one, I can't even remember. I think it's called The Bride of the Vampire. This is a horror. It's not going to be as happy-go-lucky as my other ones, okay? So, again, first thing we do is put all the cards into the proper order. They came up at random, and then I just put them into the order that made sense for me. There we go. All right, so I'm going to read it to you for the first one. The first one here, this card is about, let me see. Okay, first line. Her mother warned her that it wasn't safe to venture into the Wailing Woods at night. That's the first one. For every type of monster, number 2, holds dominion as soon as there is an absence of daylight. Number 3, but she was resilient and had to go through the forest to reach her cottage. Number 4, after only a few moments of walking, a vampire had already taken her hostage. Number 5, she didn't struggle because there was no way she'd ever be able to break free. She just accepted her fate and learn to drink blood with glee. Alright, so this is our horror one. So as you can see in the first one, it's about being in the dark, scary woods right here. Then it's about having sovereignty. The monsters have sovereignty. She was resilient, the girl. The vampire is regeneration because they die and come back. And freedom was reversed. She would never again be free. So I'm going to read it all together. Her mother warned her that it wasn't safe to venture into the wailing woods at night, for every type of monster holds dominion as soon as there is an absence of daylight. But she was resilient and had to go through the forest to reach her cottage. After only a few moments of walking, a vampire had already taken her hostage. She didn't struggle because there was no way she'd ever be able to break free. She just accepted her fate and learned to drink blood with glee. So I thought that would be fun because this deck is kind of dark. So I thought it would be fun to do like a dark poem. Maybe cool for Halloween or something. I've never done dark poems, so I thought that was fun. Then I used another one that I really do adore. You guys know I adore this one. Into the Lonely Woods. I was like, what kind of poem could I get from this particular deck? Oh boy, did I get one. Again, it's untitled. But you guys in the comments section can title them for me if you would like. I will take any suggestions that sound good to me. Alright, so let's get this one. Alright, so this one, here we are. Alright, so the first card is, and is it lonelier at night? So let's go through the first one. Number 1. Why is it always lonelier at night? Number 2. Why does it always seem like the vastness only expands with the lack of light? Number 3. Maybe it is because in the dark we are more conscious of the tragedy and sadness of letting go. Number 4. Perhaps the night is merely a bridge to our next adventure and not really a foe. That's 4. And the last one is number 5. Try not to fear the loneliness that sets in from dusk till dawn. I believe it is merely how God shows us how easy it can be to let go of the past and move on. So as you can see, the first one is line 1. So I'm going to read it all together so you can hear it together. Why is it always lonelier at night? Why does it always seem like the vastness only expands with the lack of light? Maybe it is because in the dark we are more conscious of the tragedy and sadness of letting go. Perhaps the night is merely a bridge to our next adventure and not really a foe. Try not to fear the loneliness that sets in from dusk till dawn. I believe it is merely how God shows us how easy it can be to let go of the past and move on. So, of course, the first one is talking about, how it's lonelier at night. The second one is talking about the vastness. The third one is the sadness of letting go. This one is the bridge between two worlds. And lastly, time to move on, time for letting go. So I really enjoyed that one. To be honest with you, I liked all the poems, but I like the ones with oracle cards better. Only because I feel like it really allowed my imagination to really go off. Tarot does too, but I feel like it really went off. I feel like it really went off with these oracle cards. All right, now here's the last one. All right, for this one, let's get the right one. There it is right here. And I used this deck. This is a deck you guys know I use a lot. I really enjoy the readings I get from it. So I use this one. These are really beautiful. They're glossy, which you guys know I love glossy. Not always easiest to show on camera, but it's beautiful in person. Alright, here we go. So we have yang, yin, come to the edge. And then we have serendipity. And we have TikTok. Now, mind you, I use the guidebook's meanings to do all of the ones that are oracle. Because, you know, they all have a set meaning. So it was really easy for me to use them. So here it goes. He, number one, is yang. Okay. He is the yang to my yin. Number two, I am the softness that encourages him to look within. Number three, I'm here to remind him when it's time to take a leap of faith. Number four, and he encourages me to go after opportunities when I start losing my pace. Last one, number five. The clock is ticking and tomorrow is not promised, but our combined energies will keep us both focused and honest. Now I'm going to read it all together so you can hear how it comes together. And again, all I did was put them in the order that I thought made sense. You know, I thought yin should go with yang some kind of way. And then it seemed to me like this was a natural progression. He is the yang to my yin. I am the softness that encourages him to look within. I'm here to remind him when it's time to take a leap of faith. And he encourages me to go after opportunities when I start losing my pace. The clock is ticking and tomorrow is not promised, but our combined energies will keep us both focused and honest. And that was the last one. So as you can see, it is not that difficult. I wrote these poems in a matter of minutes, each one, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you know. It was very quick because once I got the cards, and remember I told you I shuffled them at random. And once I got the cards and put them in the order that I wanted them to be in, the poem basically wrote itself. All I did was write the first line, and then I had to find a way to, I like mine to rhyme. Yours don't have to rhyme. But what I did was I did the first one. So I wrote the line, he is the yang to my yin. Then it was like, okay, what word rhymes with yin? And I looked at a bunch of them and I saw within. So I was like, okay, how can I put together yin within? Easy. Yin means to go within. It's about inner work. So bam, he is the yin and I tell him to go within. So that's basically how I did it. I used Google for the rhymes, by the way. If I got stuck with a word, you know, most of them just came to my mind. But if I got stuck on something, I would look it up and just put in words that rhyme with, if you want it to rhyme. Now, mind you, it doesn't have to rhyme. It can just flow in whatever natural way you want it to flow. But all my spells that I write and all my poems generally rhyme. So I really wanted them to. So that was it. Put the cards in the proper order. Saw, you know, from the pictures, the story I wanted to tell. Used the first one as a springboard. And the last one I used to wrap up the whole poem. So my poems are usually long. So that was one of my biggest challenges, was making them shorter. So because I only had 5 cards, that made that a little bit easier. Now, I could have done a number of things. I could have used more cards. I could have used, you know, I could have repeated them. Like if I wanted more than one stanza, I could have repeated them. Like after that one, if I didn't want to wrap it up at the TikTok one, I could have just made this a 2-liner and then I could have repeated. So you could have 10 lines, 15 lines, 20 lines, and just keep on repeating, you know, the cards that you have. So it's a lot of different ways you can do this. I suggest playing with it and having a good time, because that's what I did. I never saw anybody else use oracle cards though. All the ones I saw, everybody used tarot. So the tarot ones were really, really easy to be honest with you. But the oracle ones I found to be more challenging, but I like the poems more that came out of the oracle because I felt like it just gave me more range, you know, especially like when I was able to do that horror, the vampire one. I really enjoyed that. So it just gives you more range based on what the theme of the oracle deck is. So if I had used shadow work, I have a shadow work deck. It's called the Wisdom of the Shadow. I could have done a shadow work poem. You know, I could have used an inner child oracle and did an inner child, you know, poem. So it's so many different ways. I have a deck that is light workers. I can do a light worker poem. I have a deck that is cannabis, a cannabis oracle. I could use that and do a couple cannabis poems. So you can really play around with this any way you want to, but it's awesome because you have to learn the meaning of the card to write the poem in the first place. So that's the first part you have to understand is what does the card mean? Once you have the meaning of the card, then you know, you go on, you know, to making it rhyme or not, or whatever you want it to say. So if you're a beginner, this is a really great exercise to learn the cards. And if you're somebody who's a seasoned reader, this is a great exercise if you just want to, you know, learn more different interpretations or learn a new deck, for example. This is a great way to learn a new deck. Also, if you're not a reader, this is a great way to write poems. You can buy a deck and use it to write original poetry. I showed you how to do stories the other day too. So you can write original poetry, original stories, and things like that. You don't necessarily have to be somebody who's really reading the cards. You could just use them for that purpose. Remember, you know, tarot cards can be used for games, not just divination. So it's lots of different ways you can use tarot and oracle cards. So you guys come back soon. I hope you like this. I got a lot more to say. See you later.